Joining us down the line is Portuguese football expert and massive sporting fan, Tom Kundert. Tom, what was your initial reaction to Ruben Amorim verbally agreeing to join Manchester United?
Shock and horror, I think, would be it as a sporting fan. An absolute disaster for us sporting fans. He's been an absolute phenomenon. He's been such a success. You cannot overstate the job he's done at Sporting. We all knew this day would come one day, but we were hoping perhaps at the end of the season. But, there's still a little tiny bit of hope. Perhaps some sporting fans and here on Twitter and one or two journalists are suggesting that they might try and work out a deal whereby Ruben stays at Sporting until the end of the season.
Oh, we can't be having that. We can't be having that, Tom.
Yeah. I think I'm clutching at straws. I do think I'm clutching at straws. I'll be very surprised if in the next, few days, perhaps a few hours, Amorim is not announced as the Man United coach.
Tell us about the sort of identity. One of the biggest problems Erik ten Hag has had, Tom, but there's been no identity in the 2 and a bit years he's been in charge. There's an absolute clear identity, isn't there, with Ruben Amorim?
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. So, first of all, tactically speaking, it's completely wedded to the 3-4-3. So, it's interesting because right from the start, that's the tactics he used. And in his 1-4 season that Sporting had, so that was his third season.
It wasn't poor, Tom. Benfica won the title that season. Thank you very much.
Scott Steffi, remember
disastrous. That? Yeah. So some people said that he was a little bit predictable, but he's actually made quite a few tweaks. And so even though it's 3-4-3, it's much more attacking nowadays than it used to be. But yeah, that's the framework, and you're absolutely right. Yeah, within that framework, it's worked out brilliantly because all the players, they know exactly what they have to do. Someone gets injured, someone gets suspended, someone else comes in. They know that it's not going to rejig the team completely. It's just basically taking out one component, putting in another, but the machinery works in the same way. So, if he can implement that, I think that's been his biggest strength, really. One of his biggest strengths at Sporting, the stability in the way they play and giving the club such a clear identity. If he can implement that at Manchester United, obviously with a higher quality squad, arguably, in some positions.
Yeah, he is arguably.
I think he's got everything to be a big success there.
Tom, one thing I wanted to know about is, and I'm sure a lot of Man United fans will want to know, is about his personality. One thing, I've been in plenty of Erik ten Hag presses, and listen, he's a nice, polite man. He's not rude or anything like that. But in terms of having that charisma, having that way about him to either make the media eat out of your palms and control the room, how is Ruben Amorim in terms of that? Is Amorim somebody who is very fluent in English? He has a lot of charisma. Does he pace up and down the touchline? What type of man is he?
Yeah, he's very. He is. He's absolutely got loads of charisma. I've seen one or two people compare him in some ways to Mourinho in the amount of charisma. I'd say perhaps from that point of view, in terms of personality, I'd say they're almost diametrically opposite. Mourinho is very antagonistic, always trying to wind up the opposition, quite a spiky relationship with a lot of journalists. Amorim, not like that at all. Always very jovial, always very calm, entertaining in his press conferences, very informative, very polite. Answers all the questions with a smile on his face, even the stupid ones, and he no problem at all. And he really is almost a pleasure watching his press conferences. I don't just say that as a sporting fan. Everyone recognises that he is a great communicator. I don't think speaking in English will be any problem at all. He quite a few of Sporting's players are foreign players, as you know. Gyökeres and Hjulmand are two of our main players, Sweden and Danes. So he obviously doesn't speak Portuguese to them. They've only been in Portugal for a year or so. And as far as I know, Amorim doesn't speak Swedish or Danish. And so that kind of tells you, he's good at getting his point across, perhaps not even speaking in Portuguese. So yeah, I think you mentioned it there, didn't you? Like the press kind of in the palm of his hand, and I think in that way, he could have quite a similar impact to Mourinho. I think the press will really like him.
I think you're right, Tom, about sort of compare and contrast with Jose Mourinho. He does have a lot of charisma, and you're right. You know, even the stupid questions, he sort of smiles and he's not really terse. So I'm going to ask you a really stupid question now as well, Tom. So you've got to smile. But you know, the football one that I'm thinking of with the system that he's got in his 3-4-3 or maybe a 3-4-2-1. Where do you feel that? Not necessarily Bruno Fernandes fits in, but does he have his wingers able to come inside and be almost central midfielders, or are they out-and-out wingers?
Yeah, no, he doesn't really play wingers, to be honest. I think Bruno Fernandes could suit the system quite well because usually it's the wing backs who provide the width. And for instance, usually at Sporting now, you've got Francisco Trincao. Of course, you might remember him from his days at Wolves, didn't do very much there. He's looking like a world beater now. That's another good point of Amorim. He just seems to get the best out of every player. And you've got Pedro Gonçalves on the other side, and I can't understand why he's not linked to a big move abroad. They've been fantastic. And they play kind of between the lines, between the main striker, Gyökeres, and the midfield, just picking up that in that space, cutting inside a lot. And I think that's, and also appearing a lot in the box. They score a lot of goals or have a lot of shots, a lot of assists. That seems to be the perfect position. I think that would be for Bruno Fernandes, and obviously such an accomplished player as he is, I think he'll be able to adapt his game to Amorim's system quite easily.
Tom, also young players. I wanted to ask how Amorim is with young players, because obviously at Manchester United you've got the emergence of Kobbie Mainoo now. Garnacho's doing really well. Lenny Yoro is yet to play in the Premier League, being injured, but a young player, Rasmus Højlund, Xerxes, Ahmad. Manchester United are trying to build a new young core. We can see that, which is good for Ineos. What is he like in developing young players, and how willing is he to put faith in them to perform at the highest level?
Yeah, well, I think if you asked me to write a list of his best assets, I think that would probably be number one. The way he develops young players, it's just absolutely unbelievable what he's done at Sporting. When he came into Sporting, the club was in complete disarray, and they'd kind of turned their back on Alcochete Academy, which is this world famous academy which produced the likes of Figo and Cristiano Ronaldo. People couldn't really understand why they weren't producing anymore. And basically, they weren't giving the players a chance. Amorim came in. First thing he did, he came in at the kind of 2 or 3 months before the end of the season. And he just threw in all the youngsters. Sporting often played with, I think they played 3 or 4 games where we had Sebastian Coates, who was our captain, who is about 30 years old at that time, maybe 27, 28 or something. Every other player, there was quite a few games, every other player was 21 years old or under. Why did he do that? He did that to see which youth players were ready. Then the next season came, and about 2, 3, 4 of them were absolutely key players for Sporting. Nuno Mendes, who obviously went on to have this fantastic season, one of the best left-backs in the world, without a doubt, now at PSG. Thiago Tomás, Thiago Tomás is interesting because it's probably someone you haven't heard of. It's like a 19 or 20-odd striker. How Sporting won that championship was unbelievable, really, because there's no doubt that Benfica's squad and Porto's squad was a lot stronger than Sporting's. But, he got a tune out of these players. He got them playing well, even though, in the case of Thiago Tomás, nothing against him, but he's not really the highest class player. We had Gonçalo Inácio. That's another player who's been fantastic under Amorim. He's just gone from strength to strength. He'll end up definitely at a big club, possibly in England. Matheus Nunes, of course, you're starting to see him now starting to make a bit of a name for himself at Man City. He did fantastic. João Palhinha, you can just go on and on and on. These players, Manuel Ugarte, of course, Ugarte, I've heard interesting hearing a few comments about him after his first games at Manchester United. People not very impressed from what I gather. But, he was outstanding at Sporting, outstanding. And another player who Amorim improved a lot And so that will, he'll obviously be, he must be rubbing his hands at the thought of Amorim coming in there and working with him again. So yeah, he's been absolutely superb at developing young players, young Portuguese players, and also players who Sporting have seen, that got potential, or young foreign players. And it's definitely one of his biggest assets. He trusts them. He gives them the minutes. He psychologically or mentally, whatever, he works with them and gets them in the right place in their heads, and they tend to go from strength to strength.
You know what? I'm sorry to hear the pain in your voice, Tom, but
No,
also...
you're not. No, you're not.
I'm so excited. I am so excited. Tom, listen, a big thank you for joining us and enlightening us about, the man that is Ruben Amorim. We're really looking forward to hopefully getting him confirmed as Manchester United manager. Thank you for joining us, Tom.
Yeah, no problem. Good speaking to you. Bye-bye.